Hello guys and welcome to what is a podcast of some form where we are going to do every year. At the start of every year we're going to discuss the model rail industry and what we're looking forward to for the year coming. So we have Kelly Ashford
Hello.
who has joined us. We also joined by my friend Alfie, who's on the laptop behind us because he lives quite far away, so there's no point in him coming here to do this because it's just, and we can do it like this and it should work fine. So we're quite low budget as well, so just shut up. If you start getting on your high horse, go away. I'm deleting comments that are like really stupid. Anyway, welcome to the channel. If you haven't been on a video before or you haven't watched one, hello. If you are returning, then welcome back. And yeah, so we're going to discuss what we're looking forward to in 2024 with the model industry, what we're looking forward to, releases we are quite looking forward to seeing how they turn out. Kelly, you won't be buying locos necessarily, but is there anything that you actually like, etc.? But first off, we will go with a bit of conversation. What have you been up to recently? We'll start with you, Kelly. What have you
Start with me.
What have you been up to recently? It can be about trains. It doesn't have to be. It could be anything.
Well, I haven't really been going out as much as I normally would do because, as I've told you, and I'm sure Alfie will already know, I've been keeping my money back.
Yeah.
Because I've got to make sure the payment goes through for Dapol Foxcote Manor. I still haven't got it yet.
We will come to that shortly.
But I have been going out, just not as many days a week as I normally would do.
Mm-hmm.
But once I do get Dapol Foxcote Manor, don't get too excited, Alfie. Be patient. I've had to try and keep him in his place politely because he has been getting a little impatient some of the time. But he will eventually get my older backman Foxcote Manor.
Yeah.
Thank you for giving me your address and postcode. I've still got that. She will be on her way to you. Take care of her when you get her.
Yeah.
Absolutely will.
So,
my collection with Brian Scotsman.
anything? What have you been up to, Alfie? What have you been doing? Anything? It can be train related. It doesn't have to be. It can be literally anything. Apart from don't mention going for a poo. We don't want to know that sort of thing.
No, we wouldn't say that.
Mainly done a new model railway on the windowsill. That's it really. Like I've done ballast and points and stuff. But that's it really. I've got some new locos like Horby Manor here.
Yeah.
And that's about it really.
It looks fantastic. I will say.
Yeah.
He's good for all the manners, I believe, or that you can get in model form anyway, or that you're doing like, you're getting like backman ones that are certain ones and then renumbering them, which is quite a good idea. I think you're going for 30, aren't you?
Yeah, 30, yeah. I'll start with what I can get. Like, I think you can get Rams through Manor and Norton Manor, and ones like I can't get, I'll just modify and renumber from Fox transfers or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I've not been up to much either. I mean, apart from being very busy working, and
the restoration of Mazzy.
The restoration of the car has taken up a lot of time. If you haven't seen that, I will link. Well, you can check out the main channel for that, which has now reached 1,000 subscribers as well, by the way. And you can check those out there. But basically, that has taken up a lot of time, a lot of money, and I mean a lot. But now that that's done, I can concentrate on the railway, which is the main priority now going forward. We've had a couple of recent locos. Well, we've had a loco recently join the collection. We've got one coming up at Christmas, which you will have seen by the time this video comes out. So it's going quite well. Not been really up to much though, really, just apart from working. It's winter as well, so you don't really do much. I did go to Birmingham for the weekend to take the car to the National Exhibition Centre. That was really good, which is where Wally is, by the way. It's the same place.
Yeah, the trouble is, every time I get an invitation, I always have to turn it down because it's so far away from me. I can never get there.
Well, I'm hoping to go one year. I don't know when it is going to be, but the year I go, you can come with us if you want. Because it means you don't have to travel down on the train. So, because we'll drive down.
Ryan, what
if
would
you-
I do without you?
If you want to,
I'd
you'd
love
have
to.
You'd have to get the train here because
Of
we're
course.
not coming to Wrexham to then go.
No,
that way,
no,
'cause it's a bit of an inconvenience. But
I'd come up on the train towards you.
yes, if you come here and then
Yeah.
we'll take you from here to Birmingham, we can do that. I don't mind. If you want to do that, we can go to Whalley one
I
day,
do
'cause
want to do
I
it.
want to go to Whalley, but I've not had the time. And because I was on at the NEC 2 weeks before, it didn't make sense for me to go to the NEC for 3 days and exhibit the car, and then 3 weeks later to travel down again to go to the same hole that I had the car in. They could have just let me leave the car there, couldn't they?
Well,
They're a bit unkind.
You see,
sometimes.
the reason why I do want to go to Whalley is because I know Sam's Trains goes there.
Well, yeah.
And I'd like to meet him and his girlfriend, Chloe.
I know. Well, I'd like to meet Sam. Sam seems he's quite fun. I tell you what, Sam's Trains is good with. He's good with dry humour. That's what he's brilliant at it.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think I'm quite good sometimes, but he's
Sam
brilliant.
is much better.
He is fantastic at dry
You
humour.
can't beat him.
You can't. Oh, he's phenomenal. That's what makes his videos entertaining. Sometimes he slips a good one in there, and I'm like, where did that come from? Brilliant. But
And
anyway,
he has screamed in terror because of my
yes,
request.
because of your request.
Yeah.
So what we'll get onto is the main part of this podcast, sort of thing. It's not really a podcast, but it sort of is because of the length of it, and it's just us chatting. We will get onto model rail industry that we're looking forward to going forward. So, what releases have you got your eye on? Is there any specific locos you want to get in the new year? Is there literally anything model rail related that you're like, I might get one of those, or that's a nice release. I hope that's really nice. I know I know, Kelly, you don't necessarily buy locos because you have a 20 collection and you're strict at that. But is there any releases that you actually look at and go, that'll be really nice to see that when it comes out, even just see it finished and stuff, or anything like that? So is there anything that you got your eye on, but obviously you're not going to buy it because I know that, but
Well, because I'm signed up to the Hatton's newsletter, I keep on getting emails from them telling me what's coming into stock, and they've been giving offers like pre-owned bargains and stuff.
yeah.
But I have loved the look of some of the new engines, particularly from Dapol and Acura scale.
They are really pulling out
Particularly
of
the
that
new,
That's really
the
good.
newly tooled 57XX pannier tank engines.
It does look good. It does look really good.
And
But it's a bit. I know it's not that expensive for an Acura scale loco. It's not that bad in the modern terms of locos, because like locos are very expensive now. But I'm not spending 140 quid on a pannier tank or whatever it costs. I'm just not doing that.
But basically, although I do not want really to buy anything else, the only Dapol model I've got my heart set on, which you two already know about,
Yeah.
is Foxcoat Manor.
Hopefully that will end up in the collection soon. I think it's going to be due in Jan or Feb, I think, at the minute, is what we're thinking for Dapol, because they are a little bit delayed. But it should be hopefully January. If it's not December, it'll be January, I think. So
Well,
should be soon.
I have been. It's been confirmed to me that I should get the model either before or in December before Christmas.
Should do. If it's not, it'll be just after Christmas or in New Year, but only just into New Year. So it's not long off. You've probably only got a few weeks to wait.
Yeah.
Which I have a Dapol Manor, which is Dimwell Manor, and I can tell you they are gorgeous locomotives. You don't really need to spend the extra money on the Acura scale one unless you're like super set on it being incredibly like high spec, mega like ridiculous. You don't really need to spend it because it is a gorgeous locomotive. It is genuinely very nice. So
And better than the old mainline ones
Oh,
because of the
100%.
firebox
I
glow
mean-
and the removable coal load.
You cannot beat the old ones.
no, the
You
mainline
just can't
ones.
beat
The
it.
mainline ones are brilliant for what they were. And to be fair, I got mine out before Hinton Manor, which
Yeah.
I was going to part with, but as soon as I got it out, I was like,
No
Can't
way
part
it's
with that.
staying.
that is going to be the only vintage locomotive in my entire collection, because the 61XX is going. Alfie, you're having that. And the 47 is going. He's also having that because he's going to restore them and do them up and titivate them as
Yeah, just don't show it to me.
as Taylor Hetherington would say. So they're going to be titivated and sorted out. And basically, that's because the 61XX is beyond economic repair, but it still works. And the Class 47 is absolutely perfect in terms of running. It's just a little bit tatty. But I don't really want those in the collection because I want to have like modern loco. I've got the bug for modern super detail stuff. I want to keep the Hinter Manor because it really is a very nice loco. It actually shapes up really well against modern stuff. Like, they were so ahead of their time mainline for what they're like. If you look at the detail on those compared to what their rivals had, it's incredible, really. They're really good locos. And then I have the Batman one as well. So I've got like a mainline, a Bachman, and a Dapple, and I have done a comparison video with all three, and it was quite good. It's done quite well. And yeah, I'm glad of that. But when the 61 goes, there will be a 61XX come back in. I genuinely love that class, but in 2024, what I'll do is I'll replace it with the Dapple one, because the Dapple ones are lovely. So, but yeah, so those two are going, and then there's no more locos leaving after that. That's it. So that's the good news. In terms of what I've got coming in 2024, I've already got pre-orders on 4 locomotives, and I've never pre-ordered a loco in my entire life except in the Hush Rush. That was the first one we ever did. I've never pre-ordered locos, but I've pre-ordered some locomotives. Yeah. Now I've got one Great Western for the Great Western fans, which is you and Alfie.
Of course.
I have
Absolutely.
2 LNER.
Those LNER's nice.
And I have 1 LMS loco. Technically, they're the regions that I've got. So I've not got a single Southern loco on pre-order. And I always say I like Southern. I've hardly got any Southern locos. I need to get some. I've just been concentrating on the stuff that's the hardest to get, though, as well, really. And a lot of the hard stuff to get is LMS. And
LNER, and don't forget one type of LNER tank engine that you are trying so unsuccessfully to get off my hands.
The J72.
The 72, I will get one next year. Hopefully I can get one next year, if not it'll be the year after, but I'm going to try and get one. But yes, so on pre-order I think, the first one that'll probably come is the Dapol 43XX in ROD khaki livery.
What's the number?
I don't know, no idea. It's from Hans. Hans have got one pre-order, so I've got that on pre-order. So that should be coming next year. I think that's coming in the spring, so that'll be about spring that's coming. I've then got the Horby J36 in the British Railways transitional apple green, which looks superb. Do you know the green J36 they revealed at the last Horby announcement last year?
I think I ignored that.
This year, or was it this year? It was this year when we're filming, but last year for you guys.
You'll have to tell me about it, because I've only ever seen them advertised in the black livery.
Yeah, so the J36, they do loads of different ones. They do Mod, which is in that NBR, whatever it is.
North British.
Something like that. Then they do a ROD one, which is like a khaki yellow, which looks really cool.
Yeah.
Which it's not my cup of tea, though, for J36. And then last year, they announced an LNER apple green, but with the British Railways transitional lettering livery, and it looks superb. It's quite pricey, but the J36s are worth a lot. They're good logos. That has been pre-ordered because I thought, oh, that's really nice. So I've pre-ordered that. I think that's coming in the summer, but it should be just after the 43XX if it turns out this way. Also on pre-order, I have the Rapido Sterling single.
Because is it in the original Great Northern?
Yes, it's number 1 as well.
Number 1
in Great Northern Railways livery. Who doesn't like a Sterling single?
They look really good.
They look so good.
Well, I know that in the past she's been on loan from the National Railway Museum.
Yeah, it's currently back in the National Rail Museum in York now. It was in Shildon, I think, for a short period of time, which I've also been to. But it's not there at the minute. It's back in York. So the Eurolight is now in Shildon, though, if you wondered where that had gone, because that's not in York anymore. That's now in Shildon, which I discovered the day I put the MX-5 up because we went to Shildon. So that's there. But yes, this the Sterling single is gorgeous. I tell you what, that wheel's flipping massive. You don't realize how big that wheel is. to stand next to it.
I've never been up to that engine up close and personal.
I was when I was in York last. We went to the NRM. It's not as good as it used to be, but anyway. Away from that, the Stern single was out, it's gorgeous. So that's on pre-order. It's quite pricey. It's £212, which is quite a lot for its size.
I paid less for Princess Elizabeth.
But it's better than the £600 the original ones go for, so I'm not complaining.
Well, fair enough. Who can argue with that?
I know, he's got to pay £600 for Stern. They're completely mad. It's because
next question.
This isn't full main line one. The other thing, so that I think that's going to come out at the end of 24 into early 25, but Rapido are pretty quick, so it should be out. That could be out summer to end of next year. What we've not heard much of a detail on is Rapido's other locomotive that I've got on pre-order, which is the Jones Goods, which is pre-ordered in the Scottish yellow livery.
Oh yeah, that one.
Highland Railway.
Oh yes.
That bright yellow livery, that's going to be joining the collection next year.
That would look quite cool, yeah.
Bright yellow. Who doesn't like a bright yellow locomotive?
Well, I think if my mum heard about this, she might be jealous because yellow is her favourite colour.
So this is if you didn't know what the Jones Goods is, it is a 460 sort of freight loco, sort of.
Sam made one
was it a
with one of his
passenger
3D
loco?
printers.
He did Gladstone, which is a
Yeah.
similar livery, but similar colour, but that's a LBS. Is that LBSC Improved Engine Green? I think it's LBSC livery.
I think that's it, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Alfie knows a bit more.
But this is a Highland Railways bright yellow livery on quite a large loco.
Reminds you of the Sunshine.
It reminds me of Molly, actually.
Oh, from Thomas the
From Thomas
Tank
the
Engine
Tank.
and Friends,
Yeah,
one of the
yeah.
new series.
It's got a bit of a Molly vibe to it. It's a slightly larger locomotive though, because I believe she was a 440. I think
Yeah.
she was wasn't she a D11?
I think so.
A Great Central
Yeah.
one.
Yeah,
I'm sure
yeah.
she was. But yeah, so she's quite slightly larger locomotive, but it looks fantastic. So I've got that in pre-order. That was the first one I pre-ordered actually, because it pre-ordered ages ago, but they've not released any updates on it yet. But that's supposedly, well, they're not very specific on the date. It says between January 2024 and December 2024. So that really helps narrow it down.
No, it
Peter,
doesn't.
thanks for helping. It could be any time. I might just get an email saying you owe Rapido Trains £186, in which I'll be like, oh crap, you could have given me a bit more warning. But anyway, we'll hopefully find out a little bit closer to the time. But yeah, I've got £700 worth of locomotives on pre-order at the minute. That doesn't include the other locomotives that I am intending on getting. I'm hoping, what I want to do is I want to try and get one per month, really.
Are you sure that's going to come off?
What? What'd you say?
So 12 locos in total?
12 a year, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I want it to go up 10, really. But if I can try and get to 12, or even slightly more, depending on how... It all depends on how much they are. So if it's really expensive, I could probably manage 10 super expensive ones, really, just about. Realistically, if you spend £200 on a loco and you get 10, that's £2,000 worth of loco a year, which is a lot of money. But I earn enough to cover that, just. With all the other stuff I've got to pay off as well. And I would quite like to get 10, really, a year. But some of the locos are going to be cheaper, some are going to be more expensive, so it all balances out, really. I mean, some of the locos, I always get some good bargains. So, I mean, I got a Class 24 that's just coming up soon that was £80, the Class 24 we got. And it's mint, it's gorgeous, it's really nice. I mean, some of the locos, I mean, I've paid £130 to Prince of Wales. Bargain of the century. The other thing that's coming, the Turbo Motive's going to join the collection, one of the first locos of 2024, which I'm quite looking forward to, actually. In terms of what's coming up, though, is there anything you've got your eye on, Alfie, that you're like, oh, I quite like that, that's a cool release or something? It doesn't matter if you're not buying it necessarily, it's just you think, oh, that'll be really nice to see that in model form when it's finished. There's quite a few, I think, that's quite exciting. So
I probably won't be buying anything like brand new, but the Acura scale, as you already said, the Acura scale panning looks quite good.
yeah, that does look really nice, actually. I wouldn't be getting that because I'm not spending £140 on a pannier, because it is a lot of money to spend on a very small locomotive. But then again, so is 153 quid on Lion, which is probably the most amount of. Do you know when you said to me what was the least value for money loco I've ever bought? It's still City Truro, even though Lion was more expensive. Mainly because Lion is actually probably more powerful than City Truro and has a better mechanism.
Is it like tiny?
It is absolutely tiny, yeah. It was on the live stream before, and I said to Kelly, I went, I bet you this can pull my Midland Railway coaches, the backbone ones that are dead heavy, and she just looked at me, giving me a look of doubt, and it literally didn't break a sweat. If City Truro had pulled them, would have even pulled them up the hill. Flipping out. So weak. But yeah, there's a lot that I'm looking forward to. Just because I want to see them done, but there is a lot of stuff I want. I'm quite looking forward to. Well, we've had loads of announcements. The S160 is the one that I'm like itching for. The US ATC one.
Yeah.
But we've not had much update on it, so I think that's going to be more into 25. That's done. The Helgen U1 280082 Bayer Garrett, the big one. That is massive. If you think that the other one is a 260, it's basically two mogul bogies together.
Back to back.
This is a 280 back to back. It's got 16 wheel drive. I'm not being funny.
It's mental.
The big boy only has 16 wheel drive. And I know you know how big that is.
Yeah.
Imagine how powerful that's going to be. And it's going to be massive. It's the only slight problem is it costs 339 quid at the retail.
No.
At the retailer, 339 quid, which is a lot of money. That's actually more than the Union Pacific big boy.
And certainly more than Princess Elizabeth.
But it is twice the size, to be fair.
Well, yeah. Sam has got a big boy.
He's also got a Bayer Garrett. He's got the old Bayer Garrett, the 260062. That wasn't that expensive when it was new. I think it was like 212 quid at the retailers when that was new, which everybody was like, oh god, that's so expensive. But literally every single loco now is more than that. I mean, the National Collection V2 is 230 quid, and that's not actually that big. That's a lot of money as well, really. But you've got to pay for certain things, and I want these certain locos that I want. So the only one that really actually genuinely made me think that is not going to be worth that money is the Ellis Clark Trains War Department 210, the 9F War Department they're doing.
Oh.
So you know Gordon, the big one?
Oh, yes. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
My mum's favourite engine on the Severn Valley Railway. She's kind of into steam engines like you, me and Alfie.
So Bachmann make the 8F version, which is the 280,
yes,
which everybody knows about. Ellis Clark Trains, who do O-gauge, a bit of double O-gauge stuff. The first double O-gauge locomotive, they've jumped in the deep end really, is a 9FWD, which is the War Department, but the 210, so that Gordon. It genuinely looks insane. It's going to have an insane level of detail, because that's what they do, and stuff. The only slight problem is, the DCC Ready version costs £295.
Oh no!
300 quid for the DCC Ready version. It's
insane.
for a War Department. I'm like, what? I want Gordon. I want that Gordon so badly. Because it would mean I don't have to get a long more version of the 8F, and I can get a different colour 8F, which would make sense, which I'm going to do anyway. But 300 quid. I like Ellis Clark Trains. I like Clark Railworks, who is the OO gauge one. And I bought a couple of locos from them, and they are really good. I've had an actual tour around the shop in Skipton. It's really nice. They're a really good bunch. But 300 quid is a bit over the top. I will say. It is a bit over the top. The U1 is 340 quid because firstly it's Helgen, and second it's from a brand who people have heard of, which is Helgen, who are quite recognised among the thing, even though they are quite terrible normally. But it is also an enormous loco. It's literally got 16 wheel drive and it's huge. It's going to be that long. But this is what is effectively a 9F with a different body on it from a company nobody's really heard of, and it's very expensive. And if it was DCC fitted for that price and then the normal one was like 240 quid, I would say that's just about acceptable, because I think that's still quite pricey. But if you think about the Turbo Motives, £267, from the RRP, and the P2's 255 or something, you got to think like that's around the zone that these are selling for now. These big, huge, brand new locos with all of these modern features. So around 240, 250 for the 9F, which isn't the biggest loco in the world, by the way, even though it's quite powerful. I would say would be quite an acceptable price. But £300 is a little bit steep, I think.
I think it's
I
a bit
can't
silly too.
see.
That is stupidly expensive.
Insane.
I can't see where that's going to be worth £300. I'm not gonna lie, but I do want one, and I would like to see what it's like first before I get one, obviously. And if it genuinely has those features, it's like if it's all die cast and like it's got firebox glow lights and super like amazing mechanism in it and stuff like that, maybe it would be worth that. You don't know, but until we see it, we don't know. But it is a bit dear. You do have the SECR stuff that Rapido's also making, because they are. I think Rapido, basically, there was like they walked into Weatherspoons and there was a pump on there that said like Carlin, and one that said flipping Foster's, and then the other one said build lots of locomotives. I think they had a couple of pints of that one. Because they've just basically announced like 500 locos, well, not literally, but they announced so many locos, and a lot of them are very, very nice, and a lot of them we don't have already in model form, or are quite like new or needed updating, which is really nice. The one I quite like, is it the J13, the little tank?
I think so.
The one that's in the
I've seen that one.
the one that's in the NRM, the little one, the Great Northern one. Or was it the J something? It's J13. I think it's J13. That's really nice. That's a nice little locomotive. I'm happy.
I think that is it, because I remember, this is a very long time ago, I used to, I didn't really own that model as such. It was my dad's model, but he let me play with it.
Yeah, they didn't, because you can only get like the old Hornby ones, which are a little bit old now. So it's nice that we've got a modern one coming in. I probably won't be getting one, but I believe they're doing the E1 as well, aren't they? Are they doing an E1? The lad, like the terrier, but that's like had too many burgers. It's like a terrier that's like got Mackies every single day of its life and grown and gone a bit fatter. Yeah. So I think that I'm looking at one of those. I'd like one of those, an improved engine yellow, as I call it.
And also, there's another one being released. Is it Dapple or a Curascale? It's one of those two. I think it's both, actually. Well, as you know, I love the 57XX Pannier tank, don't I? Well, the 15XX has been released.
Oh, Rapido did the 15XX.
Oh, the Rapido, thank you.
I think.
Yeah.
Was it Rapido? Yes, it was.
Thank you, Alfie.
That looks great, That genuinely looks really good. A BR line black one.
Isn't there a red one? I think.
Yes, there is a red one.
Yeah, there is a red one. I think it's more like the maroon colour that you see on LMS engines.
I think it looks. No, it looked genuinely. I saw that, and I'm not a big fan of like certain tanks and like. I'm not like if it doesn't like give me the X factor sort of thing, I don't really go for them. But I looked at it and thought, that looked really good, I actually really like that. So maybe if they come down a little bit in price, because I don't want to pay a ridiculous amount of money for a loco like that. Yeah. But if it comes down in price a little bit over the years, I might get one in the future. I don't know. But they're quite cool, so I was like...
And among the ones released is the only member of the class to be preserved.
Yes, because they only saved 115XX. It's a weird one because...
And that's 1501.
They saved 1 million panniers and 1 million ginties and 1 million of like other things. But the one thing they didn't preserve 1 million of is a 15XX. And you thought, because it was quite a late tank as well, because they didn't actually produce any of them. They built very, very few of them anyway. But they built very few in actual Great Western Railway, because it was after 46 when they built most of them.
Yeah.
Because they're quite a late loco, because obviously it was only the last 20 years and then everything ended. So... it's surprising that, considering how late they were, and a lot of them did last quite a long time, it's surprising how they didn't save more, but these things do happen. But Yeah, but yeah, it's nice to know that is it's still running as well. It's operational, I think, at the minute, so it is used a lot. So it's a good little loco.
Well, if you do get one, can you make sure it's 1501?
Well, I'll try, obviously, but I'm just going to go in for any DR line black one.
Have I overstayed my welcome?
No, he's just wondering what time train is, but we'll sort it out. We're doing this in a minute, so yeah, well, I'm not paying. I think they're about 130 quid, so they're quite pricey. It's not too bad for a new release, but it is quite pricey. But
I'd be willing to pay that.
I'm not paying that for quite a small locomotive, even though I am like paying ridiculous amounts of money for other things, but which is fair enough. But yeah, I like to get these tanks a little bit cheaper because they are like quite easy to get hold of.
I know it's kind of a weird thing for me. The 94XX doesn't really go that well with me, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, you like the 94, but it does suit my railway a little bit better as well.
But at the same time, I can't say I don't like the 15XX because I've had a few rides behind 1501 in the past. It's just that because I'm still waiting for Foxcote Manor, I haven't been able to get back there yet.
Yeah. I've not been to Heritage Railways for a while. That's what I'm going to try and do next year.
What's the one Heritage Railway you'd love to visit in?
The Bluebell is the one I want to visit the most. But it's so far away from my house. It is it's like 5 hours each way. I'm not doing that.
I remember you did say when I mentioned it, you were desperate to get to the Great Central Railway, isn't that right?
I've not been since 2010. I went in 2008 and I went in 2010.
Ah, right.
So I went to see the launch of Tornado, which was in. Do you remember when it was launched in that grey colour?
Yeah, it looked like a ghost engine.
Yeah. And then I went in 2010 when it was in the apple green. I was like 20. It was definitely 2010, and I haven't been since then. So I would like to go back. Because
you and me both.
Because I don't really remember a lot of it. So.
And I've had a ride behind that engine and Flying Scotsman on the Severn Valley.
So I actually rode behind. I went on the footplate of the Flying Scotsman when it was the first time it was finished at the East Lancashire Railway when it was in the wartime black. And can I just say it looks so much better in the wartime black than it does now. Controversial opinion probably, but it looks it looks so good. It didn't have them stupid rabbit ears on it, and it wasn't in. It was in wartime North Eastern Railway black. It looked the absolute business, and I didn't want them to paint it, but they did because they're stupid. But yeah, I rode behind that when that was first finished. East Lancs, that was really good. That was a long time ago. Was quite a while ago now. But yeah, so priority for next year is for me to try and get some more heritage railways as well, which would be nice.
Is Llangollen on the list?
Yeah, well, I've got to try and work around the ones I've not been to for the longest period of time, and the ones that are slightly further away, because then I'm less likely to go to the ones that are further away, whereas Llangollen's actually quite close to here, so it's not too far, it's only about an hour, so we will get round to it. But yeah, main priority for 2024 is to get locos, and I'm looking forward to many. I've got many on pre-order, and there's quite a few that I'm looking at. The only slight issue is some of them are a bit too expensive, but we'll see. We'll see how the year goes, because there's so many been announced this year that are coming out next year, and so many that are going to be announced next year that are coming out the year after. It's going to be hard to keep up. I don't really care about diesels and DMUs that much, because you can get those quite easily, and they're still pretty good locos, but it's a bit of an odd one, and there's a lot of Westerners I want as well. There's a lot of Westerners, even though I'd say I don't like
Westerners. A baby warship.
What do you mean by baby warship?
Like Western Ranger and Western Courier.
Oh, I don't mean that Western. I mean Great Western Railway locos.
Oh, why didn't you say?
I would quite like a 52 Western though. Isn't it quite cool?
Well, if. Sorry about this, Alfie. I have been to the Llangollen Railway, as you know I love going there, and I'm sure I've told Alfie as well. They have got some Dapol and Lima diesels on sale there at the back of the shop.
Oh, actually, do you know when I said the Hinton Man is my only vintage loco? I forgot I have a Lima Class 60. So that's going to be my other vintage loco, so that's just to clear that up.
And they do have 00 gauge Western diesels on sale as well.
I know, I want them obviously the super details and
And
stuff. So
also, they have the high mech.
I'm not a fan of them really.
No? No? Okay. They've got some 47s.
I do like a 47.
Now, you can't say no to one of them.
Yeah, so yeah, there's a lot.
Pardon me.
You're hungry. There's a lot we're looking forward to. There's a lot of really cool stuff to come up. So obviously we'll keep you posted on certain things, and I will do reviews as and when I get locos, which is going to be quite a bit. But yeah, not all of them Kelly's going to approve of, because some of them are probably going to be diesels. It's quite funny when she whinges about diesels because she doesn't like them. But yeah, we'll conclude this because my phone's going to run out of storage. That's why we have to finish this. Which is quite funny. So buy a phone with decent storage. Yeah, we're going to conclude this, and if there's anything you're looking forward to, obviously, there's been a lot of recent releases. Have you got anything recently that you've really enjoyed, or anything that you've got on pre-order? Let us know, and we will. I'll reply to you, and basically, I'll be interested to know. So yeah, thank you all for watching. Thank you to Alfie for joining, and thank you for Kelly for joining.
Thank you.
Channel links are in the description below, etc. And we will see you very soon for some more videos. Goodbye.
See you, folks.